Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. This is a conservative-leaning podcast, but I do take facts from both sides to push my opinion. But if I find that the facts don't concur with the Constitution and our laws, I'm going to have a problem with it. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. I'm not MAGA. I'm a Federalist. So a lot of people don't understand what that is, or a lot of people think all Federalists are independents because they weigh what is correct. But there are plenty of Federalists that are conservatives, but will look at both sides to make their decision. Today, July 21st, 2026. This is episode 83. I'm going to make this a short episode. I always say that ends up going 45 minutes to an hour, but this one's going to be short, folks. I got a lot to do today. We're going to be speaking about the civil war inside the Democratic Party right now, mainly with the leadership, DNC, and the progressives. I'm going to get into that. And also some problems inside the GOP that is beginning to surface that needs to be addressed, or should be addressed, at least talked about. No problem doing about that. In being fair. The other thing that we're going to talk about real briefly is Walz and the wackiness of Minnesota. And then briefly touch upon what's going on with the United States and Iran, and where I think that's going, and why there are questions, and people should have these questions. It's nothing wrong with asking our leadership, what's the dealio? All right, so, all right. This week and the last 10 days, we've seen a complete meltdown inside some races, political races, not people's races. I don't want Bob in New York upset with me. Hey, Bob, give me a call. I haven't heard from you. Warren goes rogue and supports another doomed-to-fail communist candidate in Michigan, splitting away from Schumer's pick. Schumer, one of the biggest leaderships in the Democratic Party and fundraiser, has really asked the Democrats, the leadership, to support centralist-leaning Democrats who are, running against Republicans, which, in his view, stands a better bet of ousting the Republicans, by a centralist-thinking Democrat. Well, that has not been the case. He's been people wanting to oust Schumer from his role as a minority speaker in the Senate. I don't. Well, I think after they fail in November, he's going to have a fight saying, "Hey, you didn't listen to me, and now you want to get rid of me." I don't think that will hold up. I think that he'll keep it there, but the Democrats just seem to keep going left. They keep going left. And that didn't work for them in the 2024 model. And I've said this before. I don't understand what the goal is. And you'll have people like Warren and Sanders and AOC. This is the voice of the people. The election will turn that out. And if they elect socialist communists, well, that's the way it works, folks. But I think what Schumer is saying, that's not going to happen. And you removed some good people and now possibly put those seats in jeopardy where we could have at least maintained what we have and maybe picked up a couple of seats. Remember, it's 214 to 218 or something. You just need 4 seats, and flip a couple more here and there. It's not going to happen for the Democrats. They've lost too many seats now that are going to be there that are no longer going to be there due to redistricting. Each seat is a real must-have for the Democrats. And you have like Warren, who just stepped out of the box and said, I'm supporting, someone else. I'm supporting, this guy and not the Democratic choice in Michigan. And this could be very bad. Sanders, who, he does what he wants to do. And, and he says that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not beholden to anyone. Got to respect the guy. He says what he does what he says. Sanders ignores Jeffrey's plea to stay out of the midterm elections. Just let the candidates speak for themselves, and but he is out there, and you have Warren, who is outspoken, and I mean backed. She's out there screaming for the progressives. The victories by the progressives were seen as losses by Schumer, lead Democratic establishment, which has backed incumbent Democrats like Dane Goldman of New York, lost to Brad Landers and Adreno Espaillat, New York, to a real relatively unknown. To these losing to radical left socialists backed by communist Mayor Mondani. And you might see these 2 seats go to someone else. I don't particularly think so, only because they're in blue, solid blue, but you never know. You never know. And this is what Schumer's saying. We had people here. We know we're going to win it. And now, that might not happen. Why would you do this? The DNC allowed the progressives into the tent. And you could have people go, no, the progressives were in there since, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Not to the extent where they want to tear down our establishment. And you could have let the progressives have their own party. But the Democrats knew that if that were to happen, a lot of money would be siphoned off by voters who traditionally gave to the Democrats would now go that way, and it would be hard for them to make it up. And also, you'd have a split vote, with a clear majority going to a Republican. So they invited them into the one big tent. It's been disastrous. And after, I think after the election is lost, and it's not going to be lost. It's going to stay status quo. It's not, do I feel that they could pick up a couple of seats, the Republicans? Yes. They could pick up a couple of seats. If they were to pick up a bunch of seats in Congress, that would be huge. But I think it's basically going to basically stay red and red. So the Democrats don't lose anything, but again, their agenda and what they want kind of gets pushed to the side. So, of course, Schumer, he doesn't want that. Can't say I blame him. They're out there to win. But the losses in Schumer's backyard, where he had given complete endorsements to these two candidates who lost, and they were incumbents, shows the loss of political push that Schumer has over the voting Democrats. And, the Democrats, well, we welcome everyone in our big house. And then they turn around and, they eat your food, sit at your table, and piss on your floor and tell you your wife is fat. That's what's going on in there. And he's like, we can't have this. We can't have this. We are not going to win. The old saying, a house divided. That's what's going on. Warren also said that Schumer's prize, recruit to run against Susan Collins in Maine was Maine Democratic Governor Janet Mills was completely out of step with the Democratic Party's grassroots. And this is Warren saying this. And so that is why she chose a Nazi. Who was exposed and quit the race and being replaced by the guy who she's supporting boosted the Nazi in the first place, Troy Jackson, into running. So, what was that all about? And you had Sanders now who, I didn't get into that stuff because it's not important. And now, he just runs off to the next guy and says, we have to have this in here, people. This is a fight against billionaires. In Michigan, Saeed or whatever his name is, he's running, who is, of course, anti-Israel. And Warren, who says, I'm going to back anyone that supports anti-crypto and things of that nature. And Warren has some points on her agenda of banking regulations and things like that and safety nets. I won't say that everything she says is crazy. Close to it. But, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. So, her supporting a Nazi planter doesn't seem to have bothered anyone in the progressives or the Democratic Party, where, Soros has just given them $103 million. So he's opening up the floodgates in contributions. So Schumer's looking at this, and the problem is that not that these people gain any type of true leverage inside, the House of Representatives, but it takes away from the Democrats being able to go, we're a unified body, whereas they won't be unified. And Schumer knows. This is the Republicans going, yeah, sure, heck, run those people. We're just going to divide and conquer you and eat you. And you will no longer be a problem. Or we'll just outright win those elections, and you'll die, right then and there. And if you do win and you're sitting over here, you'll die on the vine. Because your own people in the Democratic Party will realize, hey, I could be next by these people. I'm going to do everything I can to not help them in their quest and agendas. It's very simple. That's why I'm no fear. No fear of these people, because one way or the other, they're getting it in the neck. CNN polling analyst Harry Eaton, Inten, I think it's Inten, warned the Democrats, hoping their party will retake the houses this fall, have no reason to rest easy, even as their party appears to lead in generic ballot polling, which is make-believe polling, like they did with Harris. Yeah, we say she's going to get this many, so see, our polling numbers are correct, because that's what we wrote down. So, if we write it down, that's correct to us. This is the problem with the Democrats. And there are some Democrats, and I don't listen to Carver. Believe me, I don't listen to him. The guy hasn't been right in a long, long time. But he is correct in saying that, hey, you're really pushing away your moderate voters. Your Reagan Democrats. You're pushing them away and pushing them right into the red. So, yes, Mr. President, I will call you later. I keep telling you, when you call me on my show here, I'm not putting you up live. All right, Democrats bank on Republicans nominating far-right primary candidates in swing state Arizona. So instead of having a plan, the Democrats' plan in Arizona is we're hoping that they get someone who's so far right that they'll alienate liberal thinking Republicans to vote for a communist. Not saying it couldn't work, but if that's what you're banking on, that's a tough way to go. When you have strategists going, you might want to not go out there and say these things like that because, you're going to have people going, well, I'm a, I'm a free thinker and you're not going to think for me. And you have this going on. And you also have now the overly biased. And one of those was Trump-endorsed Senate candidate seems posed to lose in Georgia. Now, according to one political reporter, Trump pick is putting the key swing state of Georgia in peril for the GOP, says Greg Bluestein on Monday. One political person. I'm going to say that looking at what Trump has been doing in a lot of states, not all of them, not everyone that Trump got behind won. But you look at his batting record, looks pretty good. And now to be fair, in my new home state, after abandoning New York and moving to South Carolina, of course, with the untimely passing of Senator Lindsey Graham, Trump had asked Governor McMaster to please let, I think Darlene, is her name, Graham, fill that seat for the remainder of his term, which is only till January. And he's agreed. But then now Trump is saying, I have no problem with her running for the seat in the special election now that is now going to happen here, the primary. Let me just say that. Because Graham had already had won his primary, but now, of course, he's gone, and that now they get to do it again. And, of course, there's a list of people. Now, South Carolina has always been a fiercely independent conservative state. Trump had picked Pam Everett for the governor spot. And she lost badly. Nancy Mace lost badly. And of course, the Mark Lynch. These are all people now that are going to try to run. Two people on that list that I haven't mentioned is, of course, Ralph Norman, who's a congressman from in the House of Representatives, and Russell Fry, a congressman from South Carolina, who have said they're interested in running for that seat. Both Norman and Fry are rabid endorsers of the administration. Norman probably being the longest of the loyalists to Trump. And he wants, he wanted that endorsement, but Trump gave it to Graham. I think that was too early. I think, I don't know what the deal was. Other than that, I mean, again, it's a safe bet because you have a staunch Republican senator now, and you have two staunch Republican congressmen. I mean, everything stays status quo. And if these two want to battle it out, well, you might lose those seats to a Democrat. You don't know. And again, you don't know. I doubt it very highly that it would happen. But the thing with Ms. Graham, Darlene, is that we don't know what her thoughts are on things. I know what Russell Fry's is, and I know what Ralph Norman is. And I know what their views are, and I know what their voting records are. So I see a possible problem here. Darlene Graham said she's very interested in running for the seat herself. And Trump said, yeah, that'd be great. No problem. If I mean, Trump can turn around and say, listen, I supported her being there, so why wouldn't I support her being there again? But, I think the decision, because, I mean, we're just running out of time. By August, I think, 12th or something, there has to be candidates out there running and voting. So this is going to be real quick, for the primaries. And then, of course, if Ralph Norman or Russell Fry get the nomination, then their seats need to be filled. Where this way, no seats would need to be filled because Norman would stay where he is, Fry would stay where he is, and Graham would stay where she is. That's why I called it a safe bet. Not a good bet. Not a good bet, but a safe bet. So that is yet to have been played out. And that's a problem inside the GOP. So, Bob in New York, I am being fair. All right, little tidbit. This Waltz just won't go away. Tim Waltz, one of the newspapers there, gave him praise for their pardoning of child sex offender who is now being deported. They thought that was great that that Waltz and his parole board unanimously approved this child rapist a pardon. And they're like, well, that's our opinion. We give a lot of opinions in the paper. And people look at me and go, what are you, crazy? What in the world was that parole board thinking? And Walsh should have said, listen, I'm not pardoning anyone. I'm not a sex offender, a child sex offender. That, he a minor. Wasn't like the girl was 17 years old and, no. No. And he pardoned him so that he couldn't be deported. Protecting criminals is what the Blue Party does, folks. From the East Coast to the West Coast. But luckily, not so much in the South, where sunshine and common sense rules the day. Hence why people are fleeing to Tennessee, fleeing to South Carolina and Georgia. They're fleeing to these states. But Tim Walsh gets praise for releasing and pardoning a child rapist. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Where's all the crying? Where's the Me Too people? Where are the people that screamed about letting Epstein get a deal? Where are those people? Where's the New York Times? Where's the Washington Post? Big F you for not having the courage to stand up. A big, big F you, Democrats. All right. Heading into 35 minutes here. Iran, U.S. The problem, as Brother Don and I have said to one another in our think tank, is that we are dealing with the Trumps in Iran, and Iran is dealing with the Iranians in Washington type of head. Two people who will not surrender, who will not give up an inch. And Iran still has some tools in their bags, but we don't have to get every tool. We just need to blow up the bag. And that seems to be what the plan is. And my personal belief, and this is, dun, 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 is that we must put boots on the ground, at least to Karga Island, and take over the facility there. Not blow it up, but just don't make it useful to them. Keep their oil fields. Iran, we're not going to blow them up. But what are you going to do? You have no more storage facilities. That's it. Your oil just sits there. And we crush your cash flow and we crush everything else. Failing to put boots on the grounds there, if you don't want to do that, then you must wipe out Karg Island and take that away from them. And you ask Libya how that worked out for them. The idea of, we've won the strategic war with them. That we have done. But a lasting peace, not going to happen. And I think you're starting to see some nations over there, Saudi Arabia and some others, who are saying, you kicked the beast, but you didn't kill it. And the whole idea was you told us you were going to kill it. And if we can't kill the beast with our steely knives, how do you think Jordan's going to look at us? How do you think Saudi Arabia is going to look like us? And look at us and say, yeah, we want military bases over there. And they go, yeah, not when they're shooting rockets at us and blowing up our shit. You were supposed to kill them. You told us you were going to kill them. We gave you carte blanche. And you're not coming through. Are they wrong? So I see a huge problem. And again, Iran knows they have the Democrats who hate Trump and are willing to, interesting noises out there, who are willing to let the Middle East go up in flames over their hate of Trump. And Iran knows it. If the Democrats got behind Trump and said, listen, Iran's the problem, and you started this crap, now you got to finish it. But when we finish this, we're going to take credit for it. So in 2028, the Republicans started a fight they couldn't win. The Democrats finished that fight. We won that war. That's how I see this going, folks. And that is my opinion as I end the show at probably about 40 minutes, 2 minutes from now. Everyone, thank you. I will get a show out the door tomorrow. And then next week, really, there'll be no shows. I'll try to put something together so we can get something out the door and do some quick things. But I'm going to be busy. I'm just not going to be able to do a live show. I can always do a live show via, whatever, if, it becomes so breaking. But if it becomes so breaking, oh, is that rain out? So I'm looking here, folks, to see. It's either that or we have jets flying around here that are coming around. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it's pouring out. What do you know? What do you know? Because I didn't know that. And backyard cameras are offline. Nothing I can do about that. But please give to a charity of your choice. Just make sure it's a good charity and it's a stand-up one. Don't become a victim trying to help victims. Please, if you can, give it to a food bank. Local food banks need your help, and it helps locally. Your food banks need cash donations so they can immediately target areas. And it's a good thing to do. We do that. We go through some local bars and some restaurants, and we go through some churches to drop stuff off. So we do that. Makes you feel good. Say a prayer. Prayer does work, no matter what a Democrat might tell you. And with that, I'm going to say good night. If there's anything really going on today that I've missed in between, because it's now 11:02 and a.m. I'll do a second show tonight if necessary. Everyone be well, be safe, be good, as I fade to black.